Hi folks, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jessica Waters and I will be your professor for reproduction and the law. I'll try to post a video like this every week. I think it helps in these online courses to be able to see someone face to face at least a little bit. Even if not in real time, you know that there is a person behind the postings. This week I just wanted to give you guys a brief introduction of what we'll be covering this semester and my expectations, and then introduce the reading for this week. Again, for those of you who don't know me, I have a background in reproductive rights and law. I am a litigator by training. I got both my undergraduate degree and law degree from AU and WCL respectively. After undergrad, I went and worked for a reproductive rights organization where I was the communications coordinator. I did that for a couple of years, then moved on to law school. After law school, I clerked for a federal judge on the DC District Court and then moved over to Wilmer Hale, which is one of the sort of huge law firms here in town. When I was at Wilmer, I did a really strange mix of criminal defense work, everything from murder trials to white-collar criminal defense of multi-billion-dollar clients to a substantial amount of brief writing in reproductive rights cases, everything from the latest Supreme Court cases, including Gonzalez versus Carhart and Ayotte versus Planned Parenthood, to cases out in the Eighth Circuit dealing with incarcerated women's access to reproductive health care. So that's sort of my background in reproductive health. I should also add that I was a lobbyist for the ACLU on reproductive rights issues. Couple of caveats here. Obviously, my background is a pro-choice background. I do not in any way expect anyone to share my view. Feel free to disagree with the work that I've done and do so at the top of your voice. Feel free to, top of your voice being over Blackboard. I really do not expect conformance with my views in order to earn a good grade, so please do not feel that way. Also want to add that I'm very open to discussion. You should feel free to contact me via Blackboard, but also via email. I'm an email junkie. I will respond to you within 24 hours, and you're also free to call me on my cell, which is listed at the top of the syllabus. Our TA, Lauren, is also available to talk at any time. Her information is also listed on the syllabus. Class expectations. I want to say up front, online does not mean no work. If anything, an online class can be more challenging because you don't have the luxury of giving a half-formed thought that you might in a face-to-face class. I expect your Blackboard posts, of which you are responsible for 2 each week, to be very substantive and very well edited. This is a graduate level course, and I expect the postings to be of that caliber. As explained in the syllabus, participation is 30% of your grade. Much of that is your Blackboard posting. 2 posts each week, 250 words each. One needs to be in response to the questions I pose, and another needs to be in response to one of your colleagues or classmates. You'll notice from the syllabus and the email I distributed that I've broken you into small groups. I did this because there's huge enrollment in the class, much more than I expected. And I think that having 25 people chat on Blackboard could become pretty onerous and tiresome very quickly. So I broke you into groups of anywhere from 5 to 7 people. You'll be corresponding mainly with the people in your group throughout the semester, so I think you'll be able to build a pretty good platform for ongoing discussion as we go through the 6-week course. You also probably noticed that there is a substantial amount of writing for this course. You'll have to do 2 shorter papers throughout the semester, one at 3 weeks and one at week 6. I'll post topics and ask you to respond to those topics. And then a longer paper that is due after the semester is over. The longer paper, you will have the luxury of choosing your own topic. I will ask that you submit your topics to me in advance, and the longer paper is something we'll talk about more in depth later in the semester, but wanted to let you know that that is coming up. For the first 2 weeks, what you should really be focusing on is getting the hang of the class, the flow of the class. Make sure that you are doing all of the reading and, creatively and substantively responding to the questions posed on Blackboard. That should be your main concern for the first couple of weeks. This week, I posted a few different things for you to read. One is a draft article that I authored. I will highlight that it's a very draft article. It's in its very initial stages, but I think it's a good way to give you an overview of the reproductive rights movement in the United States. It's an article focused on women's leadership in the reproductive rights movement. I'm not so much concerned that you focus on the leadership aspect, more that you get a feel for the historical background of the push for reproductive rights in the United States. Keep an eye on the progression of the movement. It went from voluntary motherhood to the fight for contraception and birth control to abortion, and now to current day issues like emergency contraception. Should a pharmacist be responsible for dispensing emergency contraception if doing so would go against his or her moral or religious beliefs? So keep an eye on how the issue has progressed over time. I've also posted the seminal case of Roe versus Wade. Obviously, this 1973 case is the one that legalized abortion. When you are reading that, think about the legal underpinnings of the decision. Do you agree that there is a right to privacy in the Constitution? Those of you who have taken my classes before, or any type of constitutional law class, know that there is no specifically articulated right to privacy in our Constitution, yet the court has found a right to privacy and used that to make its decisions in cases like Griswold, a contraception case, and Roe versus Wade, the abortion case. Think about whether you agree with that approach. Should the court be finding a right in the Constitution that is not specifically enumerated? Think about whether there would have been a better way to decide Roe. Think about whether the court should have gone there in the first place. States were, at the time Roe was decided, starting to actually legalize abortion on their own. Should the federal government, in the guise of the federal Supreme Court, should they have stepped in at the point that they did, or should this have remained a states' rights issue? I also posted a link to a video of recent congressional hearings. In the past 5 years or so, Congress has repeatedly held hearings on the continued validity of Roe versus Wade and Doe versus Bolton. Doe versus Bolton was a companion case to Roe versus Wade, also decided in 1973. And the effects of Roe and Doe. There is good debate about whether Roe was good for women. You'll see in the readings that some people posit that it is a man's solution to a woman's problem, that abortion has actually been harmful to women. Think about whether it has been more harmful for specific groups of women or specific populations in the United States. The point of this is I want you to be thinking critically about the decisions you're reading. This isn't a class where I just want you to be able to spit back to me what was the holding in a case or what was the issue in a case. I want you to dive deeper and really think about whether you agree with the court's approach, whether you agree with the approach that legislators are taking, because we'll be coming at the course from each of those angles. So, Roe may have settled some of the legal issues, and I say some purposefully, it didn't settle all of them, but it certainly did not settle the public opinion battle. So keep an eye on those issues as you're doing the reading for this week. I'm going to probably sign off now, but I'll try to post one of these videos at least once a week, if not more. I hope that it's helpful. I look forward to getting your responses this week to the first postings, and I look forward to hearing from all of you. Thanks.